Hello, so for this video, we'll be talking about the managers. Specifically, we'll be using the Singleton design pattern. So let's get started. So let's pertain to a scenario where we want to be able to play sound effects whenever the player does specific actions. So to do that, we just need to add this component, which is an audio source. Then from here, we add an audio source clip. So for this, here's the Mario jump sound effect. And then currently, we can just go into our script here. So whenever space is triggered, we'll just play the jump sound effects. So this is the audio source. Okay, so whenever space is pressed, there we go. So yeah, you can hear naman it's the sound effect is playing. Now the problem here is that you'd see that each one of these needs a component. So since these are all audio sources, you can see that it becomes an issue. Now we'd have to keep adding a lot of audio sources. Then for each one of it, it doesn't even have a name, so we don't know what it's being pertained to. We could have one for background music, then another one for, let's say, walking, others, and etc. So we can see that it becomes bloated very, very, very quick. So what we can do instead is use a manager. So for our manager, instead of having a lot of components that we have to manage separately, let's let our manager do that instead. So then from here, we have our own custom manager class. I'll explain more of this later. Pero what it does instead is that instead of having a lot of components, what we can have instead is data types. So here, we just pass in the clip that's being used. We don't have a walk sound effects, pero we can just use both of them. Oh, it's playing. Pero yeah, just again clean this up, and then for this one, just assign the datas. Ta-da! So it's a lot more cleaner now. So let's go back to our manager, or actually let's go into our manager since we haven't discussed it. So a manager is basically this. You should have a static instance of it. This will pertain to the whatever class name it is you use. So you're saying that there should only be one reference of this class throughout the entire scene. So so this is checked. How we check it is here, usually on awake. So this is the first lifecycle method called. This is done before update, before start, and before on enable. So this is done to ensure that there's only one of these audio managers in the scene. Otherwise, it might get confusing. You might have audios overlapping each other, and etc. So this is a key point of Singleton. Again, it's in the name, Singleton. So there should only be a single of this. So this is done through checking first. So if there's no instance yet, well then we set the instance to this. Then if there is a scenario where the instance was already set, such as because of this, well then for that scenario, so we encountered a duplicate. So we should destroy the game object and then basically don't continue. So let me just show you a scenario. So let's get this. So during our setup, we will create a bunch of components. So since this one is inside our manager, it'll manage it by itself, so we don't have to bother creating a lot of these audio players inside our player or whoever wants to access audio. So let's see here. There's audio. These two are the same. So without the guard check, both of them would exist, and we'd encounter a lot of confusion. But for this scenario, so we can see that the first manager is no longer here. So it was destroyed, and this one is the only manager that's left. So then we also saw that it successfully created a bunch of audio sources that we'll be using. Ta-da! So these are so it had a successful startup. So this is just a simple script naman, which we did earlier. So for this audio manager, what we want to happen is that whenever someone wants to play audio, well then of course it'll try to call the manager. So the manager will then play audio. So let's go here. So the first track will be specifically saved for the background music. So this will just be playing. And then let's see here. For the second for the other tracks or the other audios, well then we'll have them play a separate sound which will be specified here. So that will be, let's say, for our jump sound effects. So again, this is the function we're most interested in. The others, we can explain that in the future na lang. So basically it's just saying that go through all my audio players, find one that isn't playing, and for that one, just play put it at the position that you want the audio to be playing at, and then just play the sound. Okay. So now from here we could go back to here. So then our player class, remember, whenever they jumped, we want to play sound effects. So previously, how we would have done this before is we would usually find an object and then let's say find it by its audio, by its class type. So then let's say audio manager, and then from there we just play sound effect. And then we could pass the same parameters, which would be the sound effects file, and then a position which we'll just use as this object's position. Ta-da. So this works perfectly fine, except that whenever using this or any function that uses find, you're iterating through a list. So this is a very expensive process, since you'd have to be doing this, you may be doing this a lot of times as well, and depending on how big your CNet is and how many objects are it might take a while. So what we can do instead is this, called an audio manager. So the instance or the reference of it, so this one can be called directly, and then just call the method and pass in the parameters. So both of these works the same, except this one is a lot faster, and you're always sure that the instance the instance being referenced is always the same. So that pretty much covers it on how to use a manager. So let's just see that in our scene and actually get it to play the audio. So again, one of the audio tracks is already using our background. Meanwhile, the other one will be used for jump. Yeah, there was a bit of a skip there because yeah. Pero what our audio manager now allows us to do is basically, instead of building out a lot of components, audio manager will be handling all of that. So then we won't have to, we won't need to necessarily, we won't necessarily have to have this a lot of adding a lot of components. Instead, we can again just use a data type, pass that data type into our system or manager, and manager will handle the rest.